Guys, welcome to my class. We're going to be looking at the Lego Movie today. This is going to be my presentation on the blocks of conformity, modern cinema, post 2000s, and my name is Ravindra Linden. And yeah, let's get into it. Basically, this movie is really about how massive corporations take over and then gain control, and they're able to manipulate how the world is viewed and how people view the world, and how people can be really stuck inside the box and not really think outside the box. And yeah, let's keep going. Alright, we're going to look at the filmmakers and their background. This is Chris Miller and Phil Lord. Obviously, this is them. I didn't put photos of them. But these two filmmakers have managed to write and produce various movies. Some of the movies that they produce are included in here: 21 Jump Street, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I believe. Um, yeah, and these two producers are well known for their style of films. Their style of films are more focusing on people who struggle to fit in, I guess you could say, in the aspect of where the perspective of one who is really struggling, like just like not being able to fit in with society and not conform, right? That's one of their big things. Like some of these cops weren't able to conform and be, I guess you could say, good cops, and they got washed out in 21 Jump Street. And Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs, he was a scientist, and there were not a lot of scientists, and he wanted different food, and he got different food. And same thing with the Spider-Man. It was a different Spider-Man. Yeah, and yeah, and then another thing I'd like to add was basically my point on how they like to focus more on people who don't conform. Um, this is about the Lego Movie. The Guardian states we wanted to make an anti-totalitarian film for children, something that was talking about the importance of freedom and innovation in keeping society honest. Okay, let's go down to the visuals of the film. Alright, visuals of the film. Sorry, this isn't my computer. It can be a little choppy. Alright, this movie avoided the norms of the decade, focusing less on images generated by computer. Films around this time heavily depended on CGI and things like that. And very similar to this movie, it did, but at the same time, there were many, many minuscule and very important details that were put, like the emotions evoked in the figurines. You really can't get that. These figurines are really small, and they had to build life scale, not life scale, but obviously like a replica of the buildings that were introduced in the movie. And this was the first of its kind. We'll get deeper into that as we go over it. And yeah, so this is Emmett, and he's really sad in this clip. Basically, he's really struggling to feel alone. He understands that he's alone and he's not, he kind of doesn't have anyone there for him, and it sucks to be in that situation. And yeah, so points I put: movie avoided the norms of the decade, right? There are many realistic things and very minuscule details that were pushed out onto the characters of the movie, like these grins and the texture in the hair, and every building was played out in real life, just like I said. And yeah, we'll move on. Um, this movie was the first of its kind. All right, let's deep dive into this because basically this movie was the first Lego movie ever introduced. There were obviously series and other things like this, but most of the time people thought that Lego movies would be just like a 100-minute commercial, and eventually, in my opinion, it became a cinematic masterpiece. I don't know if any of you guys can decide, but I feel like this movie really pushed out a storyline that I personally have never seen. Like the character development with Emmett, how he begins to feel lonely and doesn't really have anyone to go, and he deals with President Business as shown in that picture, and he grows into be a bigger and better person than about everyone there and becomes the hero eventually. Um, like I said, this was a start for Lego, right? First ever Lego movie ever made, and it showed that Lego had the potential to make films and future films like the Lego Batman movie, and they even made a sequel to this movie as well. It changed the way other brands were able to make movies. Now other brands like Barbie was another big hit. Um, I can't recall any right now off the top of my head, but Barbie was a big movie. I guarantee all of you guys have seen Barbie, but that was a big one, and it allowed brands to make more movies and make it feel less of like a commercial and more like the thing, the item. movie made history with a storyline containing conformity and completely shaming the idea of consumer culture. Right. This is where it gets interesting because the movie really broke the idea of instructions. Emmett, throughout the beginning of the movie, he really focused by the book type of guy, always followed instructions. That's literally what this guy, president of business, always wanted. He didn't want anything else but that. Alright? And basically, throughout the movie, he meets these characters, and these characters need help. The world is going to end under his reign. And on Taco Tuesday, he's going to use super glue. It's a deep story, I'll explain it later. But basically, this was the impact the Lego movie really had. It really pushed people out. Alright, this is going to be the revolution, alright? This is Emmett versus Lord Business, alright? Throughout this film, we managed to see a complete breakdown of the conformity among the people of Vicksburg. So like I said in the earlier slide, kind of introducing you to the slide in the future, how people were really primed to follow instructions. People were pushed out to um, not how do I say this? Not go outside the comfort zone, you could say. One could say. People were by the book, and if you broke the rules, President Business would launch his reign on you, and you would eventually get, I guess, hurt, super glued. A lot of the places that were introduced in the movie had different places, and they were all separated by walls. All right, they were all separated by different things, different walls, and it really limited their creativity and ability to think outside the box and kept them in and well, kind of like the world we live in today. And when Emmett eventually confronts President Business, Lord Business, on this, he takes a different path. He would rather, just much like me, go towards an act of friendship. He wouldn't want to push that out and be so negative and evil like him, and rather come from a world of kindness and understanding. And I really think that's really important in this world, because there's a lot of people who choose to hold grudges and not really think about how we are as humans, and we make mistakes and we're able to learn from them and eventually become better and bigger people. And yeah. Alright, let's go down. Like I said, this changed the ballpark. This changed the game. Alright. So basically, after this scene, everybody starts to relax and be calm, but the film starts to shift throughout this. It completely shifts from a third person storytelling aspect of Emmett's character development and goes behind the scenes and shows the live action people playing with these physical characters. Alright, we see this little kid named Finn. This kid named Finn really goes and shows he really enjoys this, but it's his dad's. It's his dad's stuff that he used for work for his building projects. Yeah, kind of funny. He used Legos out of all things, but I guess that was part of it. And yeah, the control factor. All right. Now, in this film, we see right here in this image right here, he's fixing everything. He wants to keep everything inside the box. He doesn't want his kid to think outside the box, be creative, and think like this right here. All right. So he uses super glue to make everything perfect and his idea of a utopia, keeping everyone well. In my personal opinion, I believe the rest of you guys, I think that that is not what you define as a utopian. And yeah, um, yeah. And at the end of this film, we eventually see the father and son reconnected, showing the film's ability to connect with humans rather than what the corporate world desires. Um, bunch of big corporations would rather have people on their phones, people not really being present and active in the real world. And I see that this movie put a really big value on spending time with family and being able to enjoy the time with people, and I really like that aspect. Yeah. All right, let's go down to critical questions, guys. All right. A change from conformity to creativity. How does this film's narrative begin to slowly change from following the strict rules and regulations to the concept of creativity? How does this relate to modern day today? This is a really deep question, guys. Does anybody have Any takers? Alright, you. Nah, I'm just kidding. But um, I'll answer it. Don't worry. Um, this film, it really came. It came with the strict rules and regulations being pushed out by Lord Business. They eventually broke off once they saw his true colors. Nobody knew that. Everybody thought that, oh, he's a good guy. He's only trying to do this for the sake of humanity. But in the real world, his intentions were hidden. He wanted complete, total control, narcissistic behavior, and wanted everybody to live like puppets, like puppets. And we see this in modern day society with our phones, with our devices. Now, I could say the same thing. I'm not creative at all. I just stay on my phone, go play video games. I believe a lot of us are in the same boat. But I feel like we live in a world where advertisements, consumer culture, it's all really pushed down onto us to be focused and primed to watch things that we sometimes don't even like, but we're primed to like because of what the algorithm desires. The algorithm desires puppets, and we eventually become puppets. Um, Another question, choice. Present business allows people to feel content with themselves as long as they follow the rules. Throughout the modern media, as people gain thousands of streaming choices, does it give us the freedom or is it just strictly controlled media by big corporations? My personal opinion, this is opinionative. I think that we are strictly controlled. I think a lot of big corporations have total control over what films are going on. And I forgot, I believe it was Iron Lung, this one YouTuber Markiplier. I don't watch him personally, but I knew that he made a film, and I didn't watch it or anything. But I knew that he wasn't able to get the publicity he deserved, but he gained some sort of traction on the internet because of his YouTube platform. And I feel like people need to stand up and be more creative when it comes to stuff like this. And um, yeah, um, big corporations have a lot of control, like TikTok. They're able to track whatever we do, how we do, what we say, even. It's admissible in court, some things that we say on our phone. Like, it's a little scary. But yeah. This is about wraps it up. This is gonna be my works cited. This actually isn't the updated one. Uh, I don't know why it saved this one and not the other one. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. And thank you so much, class. Any questions? Feel free to email me. Um, and yeah, and thank you. This